Hunter Henry missed most of last year with a torn ACL that was suffered in the offseason program. He now has a tibia plateau fracture that will keep him out reportedly 4 to 6 weeks. This is the same injury, Chris, that happened to J.J. Watt a couple of years ago and ended his season. It happened fairly early. But no surgery, no IR for Hunter Henry. They're hopeful he'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. But this is just another example of what happens to the Chargers. Every year, there's not just one, there's a string of injuries. And now they're also worried about receiver Mike Williams' knee. It's banged up. And I don't know how you can pinpoint what the flaw is in the organization that causes these things to keep happening, but it just feels like certain teams cannot keep their guys healthy. And I know there's luck that comes into play, but I think also at a certain level it's more than luck. It's the ability to keep your guys healthy. Proper nutrition, proper hydration, proper stretching, proper exercises, proper recovery and rehab. And it just feels like there is something missing. There's a whole lot of something missing with the Chargers because every yeyear they're in this spot.
Yeah, Mike, I agree. I mean, there's got to be something to it. At the very least, listen, it is bad luck a little sometimes, like you're saying. And at the same time, it does seem to be reoccurring with certain teams. The Chargers, the Redskins went through a few years of where you go, gosh, everybody's hurt all the time. And at some point, you do have to reevaluate what you're doing as an organization, not only rehab, but what you're doing, maybe just getting ready guys on a weekly basis, maybe the training the day after the game, everything that goes into training camp. There's obviously a little issue there. Now, this year, I don't know. The good thing is we're not seeing soft tissue injuries, right? That's where you always go, ooh, that might be something with the way they're training the team and all that. This is, a true fracture of a bone. It's just a little unlike Derwin James, the foot is a fracture. So maybe they have figured some things out and they just got unlucky. But at the very least, Mike, another player from last year's team with the Chargers, and I know he didn't play last year, but another player they're missing is what I want to say. There's no Tyrell Williams. There's no Melvin Gordon. There's no Derwin James. Russell Okung's not playing right now. And now you have this blow to the offense as well with Hunter Henry. It's just a lot to overcome out there for the Chargers.
Yeah, and they just keep going, right? They make no excuses, and they just keep going, and that is what the good organizations do. They just find a way to keep moving on. No excuses, next man up, and you demand the same level of performance out of the replacement that you did out of the starter. Because if you allow that doubt to creep in, that resignation, it's not our year, then it isn't going to be your year. No. It's all going to fall apart. And I think the Patriots set the tone in that regard. Other organizations have since figured it out. But I think that's the right attitude. And with Anthony Lynn as the head coach, there is that accountability when it's time to get your chance to play. I mean, why would you be down in the mouth? You're getting a chance to play. You're the backup. Go do your job.
Yeah, that's right. And it is in the backup, it's, a lot of the times it's not them. They'll be ready to play. They'll be ready to go. You just hope it doesn't filter into other guys' minds on the roster too, or the guys that are playing with him like, oh, man, we got him in. He's not as good. Or oh, now I feel like I have to do more because, our backup's in and he's not as good as our starter. I have to do more. And now you start doing too much where you mess up your own job as well. Those are little things you worry about as a coach. But you said it, Mike. Anthony Lynn, he's no nonsense. We've been around him before. He's not going to let them make any excuses or go cry to mommy. I mean, that ain't happening. And Phillip Rivers, that damn quarterback, we know he's always ready to fight. So that's what I love about the Chargers. They're not going to go. One thing I am worried about with the damn Chargers is I checked the rule book. They're allowed to play run defense, okay? Because we've seen the last 2 times we've seen the Chargers, we've seen their front 7 get demolished, whether it was the Patriots last year in the playoff game or week 1 against the Colts. They are a running defense problem right now in Los Angeles that concerns me.
Back to Hunter Henry, he had 4 catches for 60 yards last week, and he actually did make it back for the divisional round game last year when they got splattered by the Patriots.
Right.
He did nothing in that game, no receptions, nothing, but he did make it back and play after that torn ACL that he suffered early in the offseason, and now we'll see when he comes back. And they say 4 to 6 weeks, who knows? But when they don't put the guy on injured reserve, that's an indication that they do have an expectation he'll be back, because otherwise you can shut him down for 6 or 8 weeks, and then you turn around and you add him back to the roster later in the year. So, and here's the thing. The question becomes who's next, right? How many more of these are going to happen? When does it stabilize? It's still early in the season. You got 15 more games to play. They can't take many more of these injuries, or it will fall apart for the Chargers this year. But they got their win last week.
Yep.
It won't be an easy test this time around when they go face the Lions in Detroit. But we'll see what Anthony Lynn and the Chargers can put together. I still think they've got potential, Chris.
Definitely.
If they can continue to win close games. That's the key. They won close games last year, and they started this year with a win in a close game.
No, you're right. It is. They're the ultimate cardiac arrest football team, and they've always been in these type of games. But 2 years ago they couldn't make a field goal and things like that hurt them. Right now they're pulling it out more times than not.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.